Hello, everyone. Welcome to Everything Arsenal. Good start in the Premier League for us yesterday. Good win against Wolves. Started the season off well, but we obviously know we need a couple of more signings in order to, push all the way to the end of the season and in all competitions. So we'll be talking about the latest on Merino. Fabrizio's given an update on him. Thomas Partey is back on the news. Obviously, yesterday he didn't have the best of games, and then right away after that game finished, there was news about him right away. Like those journalists timed those news very, very well. News on Ramsdale. Which team is he going to be joining? Which replacement goalkeeper are we going to have? And also Cozier-Duberry, one of the youngsters we're going to be talking about who left Arsenal sometime a couple of weeks ago. We'll be talking about him. But first, Declan Rice. Declan Rice went out injured yesterday against Wolves. So how serious is this injury? Is it even serious? I was quite worried, because Declan Rice doesn't usually go down that easily, doesn't get subbed off that easily. But this is the latest news on him, according to Mikel Arteta. He says he was cramping a bit. He has not had the longest preseason ever. He was really trying and putting an unbelievable performance today. So that is great news. It was only cramp. As Arteta has said, players like Declan Rice and Saka and Saliba and Raya, the players who came late from the Euros, they haven't had a lot of preseason. Like Rice didn't even travel to the USA to play in the preseason tour. He's only really featured against Leverkusen and Lyon. And even in the Leverkusen game, I think he came on with like 25, 30 minutes to go. So he's only really had around 90 minutes of preseason game time this time round. It's not like last season he played like 4 or 5 games in preseason. So he's not back to his 100% full fitness level. So it's great as just cramp. Hopefully we'll be back next week against Aston Villa, because in such kind of a game we definitely need him. I saw a lot of people saying like yesterday, Partey didn't play well, Rice didn't play well. I don't agree with that. Partey made a couple of mistakes, yes. Rice maybe gave away the ball maybe once, but apart from that, I think Rice, especially in the first half, he was okay. And obviously the set pieces, as usual, is our set piece guy. And for the first game, I'll let those mistakes pass for the first game for all of those players, because they're not going to be fully fit and fully ready to go on full throttle. So let's see how they do next week. And I was very worried, and I thought Declan Rice could actually end up missing the Aston Villa game. That is a team we need to beat. Man City have just beaten Chelsea, a team that they didn't beat last season. We also need to beat Aston Villa, a team that we didn't beat last season, and players like Declan Rice have to be there. But will Declan Rice be the only one in midfield, or will he have another partner in that midfield? Also, latest on Mikel Merino. Fabrizio Romano has just reported that we're in the final meters, the final details of the Mikel Merino to Arsenal deal, with my sources indicating that it could be something like 24 to 48 hours before we can say, here we go. It's really, really close. They're almost there, working on the final steps. There's already an agreement on the final fee. The clubs have been working in the last 2 or 3 weeks on the payment terms, the deal structure, the add-ons, and they're now getting closer on all the details of the deal. So that is great news. You're finally going to here the end of this one. I think it will be available for the Aston Villa game next week. If you get it done in the next 24, 48 hours. I've just watched Real Sociedad play today. They've lost 2-1. He didn't play. He was in the stadium, but he didn't play the game. He wasn't even in the squad, so that definitely means he's going to leave. His coach already confirmed that they can't play him because he's talking to another team, which is us. So this deal, it's as good as done. He already agreed on the deal. It's only the final, add-ons and bonuses and the other good stuff that teams usually want to add on the deal to make it more, to make it a sweeter deal. The add-ons, the structure, how long are we going to take to pay them that money? It's around £29 million, 34 million euros around there. I think that is a good deal for Mikel Merino. It has taken time. It would have been better for us to get him, before the Emirates Cup, so that he can feature against Lyon and Leverkusen and obviously against Wolves. But listen, there's another 37 Premier League games to go. There's another, more than 10 Champions League games to go. There's FA Cup games coming up. There's Carabao Cup games coming up. There's an international break coming up in the next 2 weeks. I think he'll be picked for Spain, but you get the bit. He's going to feature. He's going to still feature. We've only played 1 game this season. There's still a lot of games where Mikel Merino can contribute for us, including yesterday, for example. We have such a good team. Yes, we can take off, Declan Rice, and you can bring on Jesus, and then you can take Jesus up front, bring back Havertz into midfield. We can take off Saka, move Martinelli to the right side, play Trossard on the left side. We have a lot of different ideas. But for example, yesterday, like if you didn't have that option of bringing in Jesus to play him striker, or maybe let's say that game was still a tight game and you couldn't just go all out attack, or I don't know, maybe it was a different kind of game where you just can't bring in another striker. We'd have needed to bring in someone like a Merino. Jorginho doesn't really play in that position. Jorginho is literally a number 6, and same as Partey. I don't think Partey would play for you as a number 10 or a number 8, and I don't think Jorginho would do the same at all. So they are very, very much number 6s. Rice can play 6 and 8, and Merino can also play 6 and 8. So, for example, yesterday when Rice went down injured, Merino would have been an easy sub to come on for Declan Rice. So I definitely need him in the team. Looking at our bench yesterday, our bench was really good. Like the option of bringing in Jesus, bringing in Trossard from the bench, and then Timber, and then Calafiori, and then players like who else am I missing? I mean, Nwaneri, a youngster, it can come on. Like those are very different, very many different ideas. We still have other players who are not in the team, like Tomiyasu and Vieira. Imagine having Merino as part of that bench too, and you can bring in Merino, Jorginho in that midfield. I think that is a very solid team to have, especially if Evan is fit. I think that would be a solid team to have. So Merino looking likely to be done in the next 24 to 48 hours, which is great news for us. We were already told that Arsenal Real Sociedad have already reached an agreement in principle for the transfer of Mikel Merino. I reported that yesterday, and this as well from Team News and Ticks. I was told it would be a disaster if it didn't happen. So yeah, it's definitely going to happen. I mean, he's not featured for his team, and they've already started their season today. So yeah, that is great news. Mikel Merino, here we go very, very soon, the next 24 to 48 hours. So Monday or Tuesday, we're going to hear Mikel Merino. Here we go, which is great news for us. We've had to wait like 3 weeks for this one, but finally it's going to be done. So that's the latest on Mikel Merino and Declan Rice as well. But let's talk about Thomas Partey, the midfielder who started for us in the number 6 position yesterday. He didn't have a good performance. He gave away the ball 2-3 times, and twice was really, really terrible. Like one of them, Nori had a shot from outside the box, could easily have been 1-1, and we are kind of struggling to like stamp our foot in that game in that second half. Wolves could easily have scored, and then we don't know what else could have happened after that. If it went down to 1-1, it would have been more difficult. So Thomas Partey is one of the players who didn't have a great second half, and immediately the game finished, there was news about him right away. Like the way they timed the news is crazy. So this fast, Mikel had this to say about Thomas Partey. He's obviously asked about him, because of the poor performance. And he said, I think we had certain problems, especially in the second half. It's a part of the game. There are things we can do better to have more security. We will be better. So the thing I love about it as well is never really going to say, oh, you've asked me about Thomas Partey. Well, he didn't do well today. We're going to talk to him. We're going to talk. Nah, he always says, we had problems here. And even if it's just Saliba gave away the ball for the chance, he's going to say, no, our defenders today is going to use in general, he uses it as a team, never really singles out one player, which is great. I know Thomas Partey gave away the ball a couple of times. I know Saliba gave away the ball. I know, those errors here and there. But it's the first game of the season. If you play poorly and win 2-0, that's great. I don't think we played poorly. I think the first half was really good. And I think the second half, the first 20 minutes of the second half wasn't great, but we still managed to hold out. So the moment the game ended, this news came out right away. Arsenal are open to selling Thomas Partey, as a 31-year-old midfielder, has entered the final year of his contract. Like, this came out immediately. Now, I don't know what to believe about this. I don't think like Arsenal would say, actually, now we want to sell him after that performance. You want to sell him? I don't think that's the case. I think this is a case of, the news outlets knowing that there's still a chance maybe Partey could leave, and this is the perfect time for them to post this news. As of now, I don't think Partey is going to leave. Even if Merino joins in, that means Partey, Merino, Jorginho, and Rice. I think 4 midfielders is enough. I don't think they're going to go down to 3 midfielders. The only way you'd sell Partey is if you're getting another midfield on top of that. And I don't think they're looking at another midfield. I'm sure they may be looking at a striker or a winger that you can get before now in the end of the season. A couple of days ago, we talked about news outlets, I think Team News and Tick, saying that Arsenal still trying to get at least two more players after Merino. Now, I don't think any of them will be a midfield after you get Merino. We have those midfield options, and now I've added Nwaneri as a midfield option, number 8, number 10. Fabio Vieira, unless he goes out on loan, I can't see a situation where Fabio Vieira and Partey leave Arsenal. That will leave a shot in midfield as well, because you still need backups and you still need a bench. You can't just sell everyone. And we know that is not Partey's game yesterday. We know not his game. Like, I mean, it's not that's not how we expect Partey to perform. Obviously, we know he's better than that. So let's see how it does next week against Aston Villa and the other games. He's still going to play a crucial part for in our season. I don't think we've replaced him at all yet. The only players who would have fitted that bill, maybe a player like Bruno Guimaraes, but you're not going to get those players. So I think Partey, just keep him. I don't know what is going to happen next season. Is he going to leave on a free? Are we going to give him a new contract? Hopefully he stays fit though. Hopefully he does stay fit. He can rotate to Jorginho with Rice and Merino depending on the game. That is absolutely fine. But yeah, there was news about Partey right away coming out that Arsenal are open to selling him immediately after he gave away the ball 2 or 3 times in that game. Crazy how they time it. Next up, Kiwior. Kiwior was not in the squad yesterday at all, and he was fit, so he could easily have been in the squad ahead of Nwaneri or someone. But the fact that Calafiori and Timber were there on the bench, and we had Zinchenko, Gabriel, Saliba, and Ben White, and Tomiyasu is still going to recover, I don't see where Kiwior is going to play there at all. I would have loved to keep him, but let's say if Gabriel is not there, I think Calafiori is the one who's going to play. If Ben White is not there, I think Timber is going to play. If Zinchenko is not starting, I think Timber is going to start. If Calafiori is the one starting a left back and he doesn't play, and we are playing, a Crystal Palace or Wolves or Brighton, I think Zinchenko plays. If you rest Ben White, you can play at Tomiyasu. So I don't really see where Kiwior is going to play unless he features in like 2 Carabao Cup games or something. But I would have loved to keep him, but personally for him, we did really want to stay don't feature at all next season, because last season he was getting a lot of game time because Tomiyasu was not there, Timber was not there, and on top of that, Calafiori is not an Arsenal player yet. So Zinchenko is also injured. So that is why Kiwior is playing a lot. And this is what Fabrizio had to say about Kiwior. Kiwior out of squad for technical decision, not injury. He could still leave before the end of the transfer window, but nothing close yet with any club, I'm told. Open situation. So for Kiwior, I think it's a 50-50. You don't know whether he's going to stay, whether he's going to leave. We have to be patient with this one. If he ends up staying, listen, it's good for us, I guess. That's going to mean more depth. That will mean we have Calafiori and Zinchenko at left back. We have Kiwior and Gabriel at left centre back. We have Saliba and Timber at right centre back, and you have Ben White and Tomiyasu at right back. So he'll have 8 different defenders to use, which would be great for us. But I think this one is a bit difficult, especially if we end up buying Merino and maybe a forward player. I think we're going to try and get that money from Nketiah and from Kiwior as well. But for Kiwior as well, it's just like the Nketiah situation. I think if someone gives us 14, 15 million, Arsenal are not going to accept it. Arsenal want to make a profit. They're looking for 20 million plus. Depends. The team's going to get desperate and try to come back for him. We had Inter Milan wanted him, Juventus wanted him, AC Milan wanted him. Are those teams going to come and try and sign him at the end of the transfer window? Let's wait and see. And another player in a similar situation is Aaron Ramsdale. What's the latest on him? Is he going to leave? Is he going to stay? Rare's performance yesterday was really, really good. And I have a feeling Rare could be used in 3 competitions out of the 4. So if Ramsdale does stay, you're looking at the Carabao Cup again. And if by any chance, again, we go out early in the first round or second round of the Carabao Cup, that means he doesn't play again this season. And on top of that, this time Raya can't play against Brentford, so he can easily play all 38 games. If he did play all 38 games last season, he'd have been looking at 18, 19 clean sheets to his name. He picked up 16. He picked up the Golden Glove. If he played all the games, he'd have had close to 20 clean sheets. So I can't see where Ramsdale fits in terms of that. I'd love to keep him as a backup, playing in the FA Cup, playing in the Carabao Cup. But again, just like Nketiah and Kiwior, if you're going to use the money to buy strikers and wingers and Merino, we're going to need to, sell other players as well to at least recoup that money. This is the latest on Ramsdale from Fabrizio. There could be movements with Aaron Ramsdale in the coming days. The main candidate to replace him is Juan Garcia from Espanyol. So first on Ramsdale, which teams are going to come in for him? He had Ajax are interested in him on loan. I don't think Arsenal are ready to loan him out. I think Arsenal just want to sell him. Southampton could come back for him. I watched Southampton. Yes, Southampton played against Newcastle yesterday. The goalkeeper made a mistake and he cost them a goal. Maybe they would want him right now. He's definitely better than most of those goalkeepers in those teams. So I'd not be surprised if one of them makes a bid for Aaron Ramsdale, as long as it's a good bid, not 10 million, 11 million. I remember when you're trying to sell Leno, Fulham are trying to give us 6-7 million, which is terrible. We have to get a lot of money for Aaron Ramsdale. We signed him for around 30 million. I don't think he's become a poor goalkeeper at Arsenal. He had 2 very, very good seasons, and last season didn't really play. So he's still an international player who gets picked up for England, even if he doesn't play. I think we need to get at least the same money for him. But the thing is, are we going to get that money? Is anyone going to get that money, or is he going to end up staying and then maybe look for a solution in January? I don't know what is going to happen with that. If he does go, we are looking at Juan Garcia's replacement. So we've already signed 3 goalkeepers this transfer window. Raya on a permanent deal, Setford and also Niga. That's 3 goalkeepers. But Setford and Niga are not going to be backup goalkeepers for Raya, and Karl Hein already left on loan. So if we do sell Ramsdale, we're going to have to get another goalkeeper, second choice goalkeeper, which will make it 4 goalkeeper signings in one transfer window, plus Karl Hein leaving and Okonkwo leaving. Basically, we'll have done like 6, 7 deals. I think there's another one, maybe I'm forgetting. Like, yeah, a lot of deals for goalkeepers. But Juan Garcia is the one that we're looking at. Let's see how it progresses with Ramsdale, Southampton, Bournemouth, Ajax, teams like that. Let's see who's going to get. Now, lastly, Cozier-Duberry, one of the youngsters, left Arsenal a month ago to join Brighton. We were looking at him as a backup for Saka, and he left, and people are like, he's leaving because Mate is not going to give him a chance and all that. But I've always said these players who leave Arsenal, Cozier-Duberry, Hutchinson, Chido Martin, a lot of people have said Chido Martin is going to be the next Van Persie, and I was like, no way. You know why? Because in the next 2 years or 1.5 years, something, United are going to let him go on loan to a different team and then sell him eventually. And that is what is happening to Cozier-Duberry already. Like when he left, he did say, in his agency did say, like, he's going to get more opportunities at Brighton to play. This is the latest. Brighton, former Arsenal youngster Amario Cozier-Duberry is set to make a loan move to the Championship with multiple clubs interested. So I don't see the need of leaving Arsenal in that situation, because I don't think Arsenal told him to go. He just decided to leave. He would have done the same thing at Arsenal. We'd have also sent him out on loan if you wanted us to send him out on loan. Like the way he left Arsenal and the way Chido Martin has left Arsenal and a couple of other players, it's like, we are leaving Arsenal because you don't play for Arsenal. It doesn't look like you're going to play for Arsenal. Let's go to another team to play there. He's not going to play at Brighton, because Brighton, since they signed Duberry, they've sent another couple of wingers, Minte, they have Mitoma, they have other players who can play those positions. So he's not really going to feature there. So what is going to happen at the end of the day? Cozier-Duberry is going to go to the Championship, and then maybe he's going to shine there wherever the situation is for him, and they're going to eventually sell him for 10 million, and they're going to pocket the 10 million we were supposed to pocket for him. That's all that is going to happen. So I don't believe in this. We are leaving Arsenal to get more opportunities, because they don't really get opportunities in those teams that they go to. If you cannot leave Arsenal and go to Man United, and you're going to feature there as a striker, no way. They have Højlund, they have Zirkzee, they have Rashford. Why is Chido Martin going to feature there? Even in the next 2-3 years, he'll have left Man United already. So it doesn't make sense for me. A couple of other players, maybe 2 or 3, you can leave Arsenal and you go and feature in another team, fine. But most of them and most of the fans jumping on that bandwagon of, it doesn't give them chances, that's why they're leaving. He's not getting a chance at Brighton. Chido Martin is not going to get a chance at Man United as well. So it's a bit of a weird one. But that's the latest on him. That's the latest in terms of all the transfer news. Let me know what you make of the situation with Partey. Would you keep him? Are you worried about today's performance? Merino, do you think that is enough for a midfielder to bring him in? And everything else that we've talked about, let me know. Would you be open to selling Ramsdale? How much would you be wanting to get for him? Thank you for watching, and I'll catch up with you guys on the next one.